Hello, people. Welcome to another episode, Coco and the Sun podcast. I'm your host, Mike Critchlow. Very happy and grateful to be here today. One second. Oh, okay. So today we're going to continue reading from the Jeshua Channelings. And I think today we do chat on Lightworker 3, Lightworkers Incarnating on Earth. Just also wanted to send out well wishes to Jamaica and hoping that they recover soon after um the hurricane. It's a, it was a big one, and I know the people strong and they will recover. But anyway, anyone can help to help them do so. You know, I just want to say, please, if you can help. I have not researched any um nonprofit, and I really don't like to go on, you know, recommend specific companies. We just never know. But if you can find a good one, a reliable one, one that's authentic and will get the people what they need, please, if you can help. Because Jamaica has contributed so much to the culture of the world. So um what else did I want to say before we started? Nothing else I have to really talk about. I'm still processing the it looks like from my dreams and stuff, and even in my wake time, I'm still trying to figure out how to balance determination and surrender. I think both work together to bring in the reality that you want. That's what I'm getting. I thought it was just surrender or trust. But determination is part of the factor of focus as well. I believe I was a little bit laxed. I went through a process of where I was just focused on efforting, and then I went to a process where I was just completely surrendered and didn't have um I didn't say I didn't have focus, but I was just really into the letting go aspects of things that work out for me. I was just let it go, but I still need to um know that what I want is going to happen. I think what I have to let go of is how it happens and when it happens, but I still need to know and trust that it's going to happen and trust myself in knowing what I want is what's best. Now, not what I want and how it will unfold, but what I want at the core of it. So, like, if I want to be financially free and not on anyone else's schedule or needing to get time off, that type of thing. Um, Allowing of it to come in either an entrepreneurial way or maybe some inheritance, maybe a windfall, and allowing for it to come in different ways and not focused on it coming in one way. But just knowing that that's the core, the freedom is the core. And so focusing on knowing that it will come in the right way, in the right time. I think that's the the blend of the balancing. But I'm still refining this understanding. So I'm not seems to be happening in a way, but it's happening in degrees and little stages and integrations. So while I learn to enjoy the stage I'm at, also still being focused on the stage I want to get to. And not getting stopping here and being like, okay, well, this is it. Being like, oh, this is good for now. I can find some joy here. I can find some peace here. I can find some acceptance here. But also like, this is okay. And I can be happy here. But I'd like to really be fully in my joy. So I think with my last job, it kind of was really clear while I could be okay there that I wasn't fully happy. This job is a little more, it's a little more happier, but there's still little like things that's like, okay, it's not the full expression of how I want to live. So yeah, I think it's so focusing on what I want, trusting that what I want is bringing in, and it's right for me, and bringing in the lessons and opportunities for me to learn whatever I need to learn to get to what I want. And that's all part of the self-mastery, I think. Anyway, I'm still refining this. So, that's what I have been working on or being clear on. It's really focusing as well because it's an aspect of the masculine feminine dynamic. And my dreams are showing that. It's showing trusting, but also when I need to get behind the wheel. It's done it twice with like cars, like other people driving, and then me paying attention to them and knowing that I need to drive because they're otherwise distracted or wouldn't lead me to where I need to go in the way I want to get there. So it's showing, yeah, it's showing the masculine and feminine aspect because both times a male was driving and then I had to express clearly that it was time for me to drive. The male didn't want to give up the driving, not in a bad way, but that they were saying they could do it, like they were doing me a favor or taking care of me. And I had to say, no, you need to rest. Let me do it from here, you know? So I think that's my masculine aspect, my efforting and wanting to get it done in an action way. And then me, I was a feminine myself. I was my female self, my woman self, my woman self in the dream, in both dreams. So I had to say, no, it's okay. You can rest. Let me drive now. So I think my feminine aspect is coming in and ready to take the wheel as well. So it's knowing when each one needs to come in and come out, like, work together in tandem. Not one being overworked either, um, or being too extreme. So the dreams are showing that I'm refining that in trying to bring in the reality I want to the next phase of it. Um, you know, I've been playing with intentioning and trusting and how the words affect me and how I am able to relax into or feel at ease or at flow into what I'm intentioning for or trusting. So trusting again works really well for me, more so than commanding or decreeing or intentioning. Um, yeah, yeah. Trusting works really well for me. So everybody has their own recipe that works well for them. So I can trust that I will experience all the best things that are for me in the best way and the best time for me. Things that bring me peace, harmony, love, um, connection, but in the best way for me, in the best time, the best experiences for me, which would be joy-filled, peaceful, harmonious, love-filled, successful, passionate, compassionate, experiences and things. So knowing that that's going to happen and keeping focused and looking to expand in that way. So looking for opportunities and lessons that help me do that. That would be the focus and determination that, still looking for that, still expecting that, but also trusting that it will occur in the right way and the best way for me, I think. So anyway, I've been playing with that. I had a few revelations this week, but now I can't remember. Like I had like this understanding of how we're all interlinked, but um not in the same place. So like if we're all in a mosaic, right? There might be a part of the mosaic where my piece doesn't fit. It's not in resonance. It doesn't complete the picture there, but it completes the picture here. And that just it means that we're still all part of the mosaic, but I fit here. This is where I'm contribute to my part of the picture and not here. So that was like a refinement and like we're all one and we're all in unity. But some people I'm not probably going to resonate with or some places or some experiences because this is where I'm happiest and I complete the picture best. I resonate there best. Like my colors complement that area to complete the whole picture the best there. But these people still exist and they're still fine and they're still part of the picture and the whole picture wouldn't be complete without them. These different parts of the mosaic. And then like I saw like just like even how all the the way the world is connected or the countries and how the cultures are interlinked and you know similar but different in different integrations, right? And this is I think has to do with how the countries were like we were one big mass and then it broke up. And it all has to do like how we were positioned, I think. So I was watching this all came when I was watching this documentary about the indigenous people of Japan, the Anui, A-N-U-I, I think. That they didn't know, or they did know it had been hidden that they were the indigenous peoples of Japan. And they do not make up the majority of Japan today. And if you look at the DNA of the people that make up the majority of Japan and the DNA of the indigenous people, there are some differences. And the indigenous people do have similarities to other indigenous peoples. Um, you know, and this would be, I think, they explained it or how like, they all traveled down and they were talking about the strait that they all traveled down and then it broke up and people ended up in different people. So I think they related to some of the people in Alaska, even they had some DNA similar to the Polynesians as well as the Native Americans. Um, but don't quote me. It was a documentary. So anyway, when I saw that how they were all connected similarly, um, and how they were explaining it, and how it all like they separate into different parts and how they moved and stuff. I was like, oh, so all the cultures, though they have significant differences that make them unique, they also have significant similarities that show the integrations of how they were connected and were kind of like um, connected by some aspects, but different by other aspects. Like how a rainbow has different colors, but it's still like a rainbow. Anyway, that came through. Then I think the whole world is connected in some way, culturally, but not all the same culture. So like I might have my culture might be related to other Caribbean islands because I'm from the Caribbean, but then the Caribbean islands are also related to the cultures based on how they were colonialized with the African, Indian, and British, Spanish, French uh, cultures, making it, but still making their own unique culture from it. And the islands are all similar, but also all uniquely their own in different stages. But you can see the connections and the differences, making a picture that's whole, but also like uniquely their own. I don't know, I think I'm talking in circles. I can see it in my head, but I can't explain it. So I saw we're all connected, but not everybody's connected in the same way. It's like the Christmas tree lights, how if you plug one strand in and then another strand, each strand is different, right? It's its own entity, but it's linked by that plug right there with similarities, I guess. And so if you plug all of them together, then you'll see like it can all be one thing, right? If they're all connected. But it's really a collection of many things creating it. So like all the cultures of the world are connected by probably being connected to a few cultures, but those other cultures are connected to other cultures, which are connected to other cultures, which by extension, if we're all plugged in together, makes us all connected in one. I can't explain it as well as I want to. But anyway, so yeah, so that revelation came to me. Um, So even if I don't understand a culture fully or can't align with it, there will be some aspect of another culture that I can align with that understands that culture, I guess, or is part of that culture or has aspects of that culture. Meaning we're all connected, basically, in different ways. Sometimes, though, distantly and not all connected. Oh, so sometimes we're connected distantly. There's still a connection, but it's a very distant connection. Or we're connected proximally, closely. Yeah, I think that's what I like. Anyway, let's start reading before I go off tangent again. Okay, Light Worker 3. Light Workers incarnating on Earth. When you incarnated on Earth, you had just started the transition from an ego-based to a heart-based consciousness. We have sketched this transition as consisting of 4 steps. You took the first step when you became aware of your longing for something else, something different from the struggle for power that filled your lives before. Something different from the struggle for power that filled your lives before. That struggle provided your lives with purpose and meaning for a substantial period of time. Your fascination with power led you to use the human being as a straw puppet in your galactic battles. All galactic empires were part of this, but when the warring energies were transposed to Earth with man as their playground, you became more of an observer and you withdrew from direct battles. You watched what took place on Earth. You saw the human being develop into something, a state of being you had reached long before. You had become sophisticated warriors with refined methods of psychic manipulation and warfare. Man was to become the same with your genetic implants in place. These genetic implants cause a high level of mental development within the human being. The functions of natural instinct and feeling were more or less suppressed in favor for the function of thinking and reasoning. How long is this? Let's see. Last one? I don't think it's that bad. We mentioned that the galactic influences caused a huge level of fear within the developing human. In fact, this element of fear was closely connected with the overemphasis on thinking. In a balanced situation, fear is overcome or put into perspective by your natural intuitive skills and your ability to feel what is right or appropriate to do. However, when the faculty of thinking gets the upper hand, fear tends to be reinforced Since thinking relies on a mechanical, logical process that does not allow intuition or feeling to enter the process. When the mental faculty is fed by the emotions of fear, it tends to run wild and produce delusional ideas. Ideas about controlling everything and everyone. Dictatorial regimes are an example of this mental faculty running wild. The answer to fear is never to think more, it is to think less and to trust the flow of life. It is to fall back into the state of grace that is your birthright. It is to release instead of grab hold. When the stage of ego rule ended within the light worker souls, they opened up to a new way of being. You intuitively reached out for the energy of the heart. You were, in fact, looking for a kind of creativity that transcended the mere play with power. You sensed that the struggle of power was destructive and could not create anything new, since it killed and assimilated everything that was other. By trying to control and dominate life, whether inside you or outside you, you actually try to make reality static and predictable. Ultimately, power is incredibly boring. When you became aware of this, you realized that your true desire was not to have power, but to be truly creative. To be truly creative is to be in touch with your own divinity. Since you are divine beings, whatever you do or don't do, you are always creating some kind of reality. Creativity is your nature, your very nature. In the ego phase, you explored the possibility of denying your true nature. Indeed, this is a creative act at some level, in a twisted kind of way. To be truly creative, however, is to create according to life, not according to death. With this realization dawned, I'm sorry, when this realization dawned upon you, the memory of home awoke. The vague remembrance of a state of pure and blissful oneness centered your consciousness again, and you knew that this was somehow the key to your happiness. But you felt helpless and ignorant as you had no idea how to go about it. You knew that the ego did not hold the answer, but you had not really entered the realm of heart-based consciousness yet. At the same time, a growing sense of remorse and guilt rose within you about what you had done to human beings on Earth. Especially on Earth, there were splendid opportunities for consciousness to freely explore itself in many different ways. Earth was meant to be a unifier of different energies, a melting pot in which differing and even opposing energies could reach a way of coexisting in harmony. The energetic playground of Earth was created to house a very heterogeneous set of energies. The difference between living on Earth and living in other places in the universe, whether on physical or on astral levels, is the enormous variety of energies present on Earth. Moreover, this variety is not just present as a vast array of life forms or species. It is actually present within one single being, the human being. The human being is able to contain a spectrum of energies that has a wider range than any other being is capable of. You have within you the energy of the murderer and the saint, the energy of the child and the grown up and the old, the energy of male and female, the energy of active and passive, the energy of the rational and the emotional, the energy of water, air, fire, and earth, etc. They may seem trivial or simply natural to you as a human being, but to any other being in the universe, it is quite a feat. It is quite a feat to be human at all without having done anything special. But the most unique quality of the human being is the ability to meld energies which seemed incompatible before. Man was designed to not just hold these different energies, but to be a mediator, a builder of bridges between them. The reason why spirit or God or all that is came up with the concepts of the human being is that the universe had wound up in a situation of stasis. Consciousness, as it explored life outside of oneness, tended to try out different life forms. on different planes and places in the universe. When a soul had experienced all there was in a particular life form, it left, in the sense of not incarnating in there anymore, and went on to other life forms which answered its particular needs. There was no need to transform energy while living in a particular life form. When you wanted a change, you switched bodies. This was not because souls were lazy or shallow. Most bodies ranging in density from physical to astral offered limited ranges of experience and therefore limited opportunities to grow or transform while in the body. The body could not hold so many different energies. For example, if you lived on a water planet where you incarnated as a water being, this enabled you to experience the nature of water in all kinds of ways. The feel of being liquid, not fixed, flowing, moving, is indeed wonderful. But when you wanted the experience of being fixed and unmovable, you needed to leave that body and live inside of a mountain for a while. Also, you lived as galactic beings in search of power. You could not really change your consciousness within that body. The consequence of this limited or specialized range of experience within a certain body was that the created world of life forms got stuck. It could not grow or expand, and it got sort of locked into a sort of stasis. The unique power of the human being is the power to hold a wide range of energies and to bring them into a state of creative, not static balance. Actually, this power is equal to the ability to transform darkness into light. That is the power of spiritual alchemy. That which brings the formerly opposing energies into a state of dynamic harmony is the Christed energy, the energy that maintains oneness in the face of duality. This is the same energy that transforms darkness by accepting it and thereby allowing the fear to transform into joy. The Christed energy is the third energy which unites by accepting. This alchemic force lies in its quality of being all embracing, all accepting, and fearless. I don't know, I remember a dream, and I thought Jesus said in the dream, all are accepted, none are rejected. And he was very firm in the dream when he said it. His voice was very firm. I think I was devaluing somebody or somebody's experience, like in my real life, and was really struggling with it. And it was said to me really clearly in the dream, all are accepted, none are rejected. You, as human beings, are the only being that has this ability for spiritual alchemy. Neither the plants, nor the animals, nor the angels, nor the dark lords have this power. All souls can experience what it is like to be light, what it is like to be dark, what it is like to be all the different forms of beings that live in the universe. But they cannot experience what it is like to transform darkness into light while remaining in your present life form. They cannot imagine what it is like to change on inner levels in such a way that you create a different physical and spiritual reality for yourself as you go along. Souls, which are incarnate in other than human life forms, also create their reality and have free will. But they have less possibility to span highly different and even opposing states of consciousness while remaining in the same body in the same human form. You, as humans, are bridge builders or spiritual alchemists, and that is what makes Earth and the human being unique. We now return to our tale of the Lightworker souls who felt anguished and regretful about their interference with the human being. You realize that on Earth, a whole new game was being set up, a game full of promise, which they had done their best to smother for their own sake. They felt pain because of this. At some level, they also realized that they had blocked their own spiritual journey towards light and true joy by their acts of selfishness. Also, when you awoke from your ego slumber, You saw that Earth was such a beautiful place, a green planet teeming with life. This stirred deep memories within you. You were present at the very beginning of life on Earth. Earth had not lost its innocence then. In those distant times before your fall into warrior consciousness, you were part of paradise on Earth as the angelic beings that nurtured and looked after life. You were angels in the Garden of Eden. Even if later on you acted on your dark side as galactic warriors, you also had with regard to Earth, acted out a light and pure aspect of yourselves in ancient times, when you prepared the planet for the coming of the Earth souls. You contributed to the blossoming of the green planet, and at some level, you knew this when you came out of your warrior stage of consciousness. You knew you had been destroying that which you had nurtured and helped to create. Wow. I think this is a part of our lives, even as we live as humans, we tend to create and nurture something to then later destroy it. Right? I had this experience with my daughter the other day, as I was telling you guys, I was so, you love this child, you make this child, you feed the child, you make sure she go to school, you make sure she has all she needs physically. But then you also have to be there emotionally and spiritually and to be a support as they grow, as they have questions. And then when they start to make their own decisions, then you can crush those dreams or those wants for their life with your own egoic wants, if you're not careful. And I learned that lesson last week. I had to catch myself. I had to catch my own ego, what I was looking at and why I was wanting her to create a life that would make me feel better or look good instead of what was true to her being, true to her joy. So I think in a strange way, it kind of connects. This all part of being. Okay. Last sentence. You knew you had been destroying that which you had nurtured and helped to create. When you realized the promise and the beauty of Earth, you felt the inner urge to go down there and restore what had been damaged. You incarnated into human bodies with the intention of bringing light and creating heart-based values in an environment that was essentially dominated by egotistical values. We want to expand a little on this motive of bringing light because there's something to it that frequently causes confusion and misunderstanding within you. When you light workers incarnated on earth, you actually started an inner transformation process in which you would complete your own transition from ego-based to heart-based consciousness. You were on the road to fully release ego-based consciousness, and life on earth provided you with the opportunity to deal with what was left of the ego-based energy within you. The energies you wished to come clean with you would meet in the very being you had manipulated and would now dwell in within the human being within yourselves. Your deepest motive for coming to Earth was to come to terms with your own inner darkness, and you agreed to meet this darkness within yourself as human beings. Although you often think you're here to help others or to help Mother Earth, the most fundamental reason you are here is to heal yourself. This is your true light work. All these are secondary. All else is secondary. And I know I understood that too a while back. I had what was said was in the dream was, I am the book I came to read. I am the book. Nobody else. I'm not to tell anybody else, not to try to understand anybody else, to help anybody else figure out themselves, unless they want me to. And, they allow me in that way to help. But really, my focus is myself. And a lot of times when we're judging other people, they're not asking us to help them solve them. They're judging and saying, oh, why would you do that? That's not the best thing to do. Like, what's the thought process there? And how could you do such a thing? In the meantime, we have such things that we need to look at within ourselves. So, yeah, I understand. We are here Humans, I mean, I don't know this light worker thing. I don't know, if everybody's a light worker on earth or not. As this book says, some are earth souls and then some are light workers. And I don't know if any of that is true, but I do know as a human being that I am in my process. I understand that I am here to learn about myself. I am the book I came to read. Okay? At the deepest level, your souls wish to take responsibility for the darkness they had spread. However, to take responsibility for your dark side is a solitary venture in principle. It does not involve others you need to help or cure. It involves only you. You will help others in the process, but this is a secondary effect. It is important to realize the right order of things here. Since you have a tendency to be too diligent in helping others. This enthusiasm to help others often becomes a pitfall, since your energy gets entangled with the other person, and more often than not, you feel depleted and disappointed afterwards. I had this recently, like a few months ago. And then I felt guilty when I didn't want to engage because I felt drained after talking with this person. And but I had to, my own sensibilities were too fragile to process what they were processing. And I had to be honest about that with myself. Okay. So, this enthusiasm to help others often becomes a pitfall since your energy gets entangled with the other person, and more often than not, you feel depleted and disappointed afterwards. Please remember to give more than to receive is not noble or heart based, it is simply a mistake. The mistake is that you think you are, in part, responsible for someone else's situation or state of mind. That is not true. Everyone is responsible for their own happiness or misfortune. And this is indeed a blessing, as it provides everyone with the power to create and therefore to change their own reality. You are not here to fix other people or Mother Earth. You are here to heal the deep wounds within your own being. Please tend to this task, and all else will fall into place without any effort on your part. This was also what I was struggling with a few weeks ago, where I felt like I had nothing to offer. I had no purpose. And I understood that having no purpose or having nothing to offer would be having the most to offer. I'm really here to learn about myself and heal myself and focus on that instead of focusing on what I should be giving others. That will come in time when I heal enough. Some people say, if you say you're still healing, you'll always be healing. But I think it will be revealed in time what I am supposed to offer others. But right now, I need to just offer a peace to myself and understand and love myself. I think that's what it is. But anyway, let's go on. When you came to Earth and incarnated into human bodies, you were inclined to fight the energies you wished to overcome. At that stage, you were in a paradoxical situation. On the one hand, you knew you wanted something other than power, and you hated yourselves for what you had done wrong before. But you were not free of that which you hated in yourselves. You were not free of ego dominance yet. When you came to Earth, you had the tendency to get upset by darkness, to get angry about it, and your reaction was to fight it. The paradox is that you wanted to battle egotistical energies through struggle, the very energy that you wished to let go of. You were as yet not aware of the true implications of a heart-based consciousness. When you observe from the heart, there is no battle between good and bad. The reality of the heart transcends both. The heart does not oppose darkness. Heart-based consciousness is founded upon acceptance of everything, of all that is. It is a type of consciousness that releases the idea that struggle will solve anything. Although you longed for a peaceful, non-struggling way of dealing with reality, you had no experience with actually living out this ideal. You were really in an in-between zone, a piece of no man's land before you enter a new realm of consciousness. So you started to make all kinds of mistakes in the sense of falling back into ways of being that which you wanted to let go of. You were anxious to change or convert anyone or any group who displayed ego-like behavior or embraced ego-based values. They, however, responded aggressively to you, oftentimes not even understanding what you were trying to convey to them. Light workers have been persecuted for centuries as witches, heathens, or political agitators. They seem to be driven by ideals for which the world was not ready. They seem different and would not fit in. They typically met with a lot of resistance. What happened here is that you switched into the role of victim after having played the role of offender for quite some time in the galactic realms. Your spiritual anger evoked angry responses from your environment, and you became the victim, experiencing humiliation, deep pain, and disempowerment. The trauma of being rejected and or cast out repeatedly in several lives has left scars on your soul. You ended up feeling disempowered and unwelcome. Many of you in this lifetime feel tired and homesick for a more loving and meaningful world. It is very important for you to realize that the human victim is just that, a role that you play. It is one possible interpretation of the facts, but it is a narrow and distorted one. You are neither victim nor offender. You are the soul consciousness that has created roles for yourself to play for a while. You're not really the victim of a materially minded, selfish world. In fact, the encounters you had with aggressive, non cooperative energies in many of your lifetimes simply mirrored back to you your own ties to ego based consciousness, your own dependence upon it. If you seek results through struggle, you will receive the energy of struggle back to you. Was your own energy coming back to you. And that is the only meaning of karma. The tendency to fight evil is based upon the belief that evil is outside of you and must be banished from reality. The spiritual invitation to you, light workers, during all of your incarnations has always been to recognize and accept your own dark side and to understand its role and purpose. The deepest invitation is to forgive yourselves and find back your innocence. You are innocent and have always been so. Can you truly understand that? If you do, you will not want to change the rule of fight and justice anymore. You will want to play, to have fun and enjoy every moment of your life and simply be who you are and share that with others. When you light workers release the idea that you have to struggle for anything or anyone, you will no longer be opposed to the outer world by society or other people in general for being different. You will not want to change anything, and therefore you will not encounter resistance. You will know that you are welcome, that your contribution to this reality is valuable, and that you are valued by others. When you have fully released ego-based consciousness, you will know you are exempt from persecution and outside threats. You will have gone beyond the roles of victim and persecutor. Your journey will come full circle. You will have released your karmic burdens and you will be totally free to create whatever you want. You are on the verge of birthing a new consciousness. This is a type of consciousness that has fully released the need to control or possess anything. It is clear of fear. It is the Christ consciousness. When I, Jeshua, lived on earth, I wanted to tell you that spirituality is not about a war between light and dark. It is about finding a level of awareness that goes beyond good and bad, a place from which you can understand and accept all things. The kingdom of God is within. Everything you need is on the inside. Peace, joy, tranquility are yours when you truly realize that you are a divine being in physical expression. It is only when you realize that you are here to transform and heal yourself that things really start to change for you. And as a side effect, for other people surrounding you. The world is what it is, And the highest thing you can do for it is simply to love it for what it is. Love and see the beauty of every single being that is traveling through this plane of reality. Many of you are moved by my energy, the energy of Jeshua or Jesus. This is because I am your kin. I was simply a light worker, unburdened by karmic ties, a light worker in possession of a high level of self understanding. You are touched by my energy because you know this is the energy you are moving toward. The energy of Christ is the energy of your own future self. And that's the end of that chapter. The next chapter is From Ego to Heart 1. 4 stages in the transformation of consciousness. And I don't think I'm going to read that today. I'll read that next episode. But that was a really good read because it showed me some truths that was finding out on my own little journey, you know? So it resonated a lot with me and what I've been learning on my own, you know? So I hope you were able to find some truth in that for yourself, whether the truth is that it's not true for you. But I hope it helped clarify something so you're even more progressing on your journey, if that's right for you. Sometimes we don't need to progress right away. We can marinate where we are too. So I hope you got whatever you needed from it. Anyway, that's all I have to say today. I hope you have a really great week, whatever that means for you. And, I do wish you love. If you're able to receive it and you want it, I hope you receive it from Source, to your guides and angels, to you, to the people in your life, to you, from you to yourself. And so we'll catch up next week. Until then, please take care of yourself, be gentle with yourself, and pay attention to yourself and what you are telling yourself. What are you learning from yourself? Have a great day.